Welcome to the F-Bound Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Schroeder, Executive Function Coach. I help neurodivergent women learn tips and strategies to improve the life skills that will help them be successful. How the 10-10-10 method can simplify tough decisions. Big or small, choices can feel overwhelming, especially when your brain seems wired to analyze every angle endlessly. That's where the 10-10-10 method can help. Created by Susie Welch, this simple approach helps you step back, focus, and break the cycle of indecision. You'll consider how a choice will impact your life in 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years, giving you clarity without the emotional overload. Understanding the 10-10-10 method. When you're caught in the whirlwind of overthinking, decisions can feel like quicksand, paralyzing, and inescapable. Enter the 10-10-10 method, a tool designed to bring clarity to even the most chaotic moments. It's simple, yet surprisingly effective. What is the 10-10-10 method? The 10-10-10 method breaks a decision into 3 straightforward timelines. 1. How will this decision affect me in 10 minutes? 2. How will this decision affect me in 10 months? 3. How will this decision affect me in 10 years? By pausing to think across these 3 dimensions, you sidestep snap judgments and avoid getting overwhelmed by long-term what-ifs. Instead, you're able to reach balanced, reflective conclusions. The beauty of this method is its flexibility. You can apply it whether you're debating a major career move or deciding what's for dinner. Origin of the method. The 10-10-10 method was crafted by Susie Welch, a best-selling author and business journalist. Welch introduced this idea in her own work, blending personal stories and professional expertise to create a framework anyone could embrace. According to her, the method evolved as a response to the endless cycle of second-guessing that many of us fall into. Welch first shared this strategy in her book, 10-10-10, A Life-Transforming Idea, where she explained how these 3 simple questions could untangle even the trickiest situations, whether personal or professional. Her work remains a go-to resource for those wanting a fresh perspective in decision-making. Benefits of the 10-10-10 method. Decisions can be exhausting, especially when you're caught in a loop of what-ifs. The 10-10-10 method gives you a practical way to short-circuit that cycle. It forces you to pause, assess the situation, and think about outcomes through 3 specific lenses: short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Clarity in decision-making. How many times have you felt like your brain was juggling too many balls at once? The 10-10-10 method helps you put those balls down, line them up, and examine each one. When you split a decision into 3 clear time frames, you limit emotional overdrive. By asking yourself, how will I feel about this in 10 minutes, you tap into your gut reaction. Next, thinking about the 10-month mark pulls you into a middle range view. And when you extend your vision to 10 years, you're forced to think big picture. This layered approach declutters your mind and delivers straightforward answers. As Susie Welch once explained, that these 3 perspectives help you prioritize what truly matters, even when emotions might otherwise cloud your judgment. Long-term perspective. It's easy to get stuck in the now, right? We live in a world of instant fixes, instant coffee, instant answers, and instant gratification. But the 10-10-10 method forces you to pause and consider how your decisions will age over time. Imagine you're debating whether to spend a chunk of savings on a splurge purchase. The 10-minute effect might be joy. But what about 10 months down the line when an unexpected expense arrives? And 10 years? Will you look back and think, well, that was worth it? These questions make it easier to step back and see whether a choice aligns with your broader goals. Reduced anxiety in decision-making. You know that gnawing feeling when you've gone over a decision 20 times in your head and still feel stuck? It's especially common for neurodivergent women whose brains often process decisions in non-linear and deeply analytical ways. The result? Exhaustion. The 10-10-10 method helps by structuring your choices in 3 manageable timelines. This reduces decision fatigue when the sheer volume of choices leaves you too drained to make one at all. Overthinking shifts from being a burden to a process that you can handle. This isn't just about mental relief, it's also about empowerment. Tools like these are particularly effective for people who may struggle with executive functioning or heightened anxiety. As discussed in Psychology Today's Guide on Decision-Making for the Neurodiverse, structured approaches can make overwhelming tasks feel manageable again. How to apply the 10-10-10 method. Here's how to break it down into actionable steps. Identifying the decision. Before you can apply the 10-10-10 method, you need to clearly define the decision at hand. Sounds simple, right? But so often we get overwhelmed because we haven't explicitly identified the choice we're agonizing over. Here's how to zero in. Clarify the core decision. Ask yourself, what exactly am I deciding here? Be specific. For example, should I take this new job offer? Instead of, what am I doing with my career? Separate facts from emotions. Write down the factual elements of your decision, like pros and cons, separately from your feelings about it. This helps you see the situation clearly without letting emotions take over. Ask why it matters. Understanding the stakes will make it easier to focus. Is this a high-impact decision, or are you overanalyzing something small? Once you've clearly outlined what you're deciding, you're ready to move on to the next step. Evaluating consequences. The 10-10-10 framework requires you to look at 3 specific time frames, helping you weigh the immediate, midterm, and long-term outcomes. Number 1, 10 minutes. How does it feel right away? Think about the immediate aftermath. Will this decision bring relief, joy, or regret in the short term? Think of it as a gut check. Are you chasing instant gratification or dodging discomfort? 2, 10 months. What's the midterm impact? Reflect on how this choice might play out over the next several months. Will it support your goals or create new challenges? Let's say you're considering skipping a professional development course. In 10 months, will you feel like you missed out on growth and opportunities? Number 3, 10 years. Does it align with your long-term vision? Picture yourself a decade ahead. When you look back, how will this decision fit into your story? Does it push you closer to the life you want, or does it feel like a detour? This question forces you to step outside the present and think big picture. By breaking the decision into these 3 layers, you're not just reacting, you're intentionally crafting your response. Making the decision. After evaluating each time frame, you now have a clearer picture of your choice, but how do you actually commit to it? Weigh your insights. Reflect on what you discovered across the 3 time frames. Are you prioritizing short-term comfort at the expense of long-term aspirations? Or is the long-term payoff worth the short-term challenges? Stay aligned with your values. This method isn't just about logic, it's about making decisions that align with what matters most to you. When in doubt, ask yourself, does this support my goals and values? Take action confidently. Once you've made your choice, act on it without second guessing. The beauty of the 10-10-10 is that it forces you to think thoroughly, so trust the process. Common challenges and solutions. As with any kind of framework, you'll likely face some roadblocks. Being aware of these challenges can help you overcome them and use the method effectively. Overthinking outcomes. One of the most common hurdles is overanalyzing every potential outcome. You might get stuck thinking, what if I miss something important? This tendency to spiral can paralyze decision-making instead of clarifying it. But don't worry, there are practical ways to keep your thoughts in check. Set boundaries for decision-making. Give yourself a specific time frame to reflect on each 10-10-10 question. For example, allot 5 minutes per time frame and stick to it. Limit your what-ifs. Instead of considering every possibility, focus on the most realistic outcomes. Write them down. Seeing them on paper often puts things into perspective. The key is to remember that no decision is flawless. The purpose of using the 10-10-10 method isn't to plan for every eventuality, but to make thoughtful, balanced choices without getting stuck. Balancing emotions and logic. Another common challenge is getting caught between your emotional instincts and logical reasoning. Emotion might push you one way, while logic pulls you another. How do you find harmony? The sweet spot lies in letting both perspectives inform your decision without allowing either to dominate. Balancing heart and head takes practice, but pairing the emotional clarity of the 10-minute lens with the logical foresight of the 10-year view can dramatically improve decision-making. The 10-10-10 method simplifies decision-making. When applied regularly, the method feels like hitting a mental refresh button. It's an approach that anyone can use no matter the scale of the decision, from what to eat for dinner to larger life choices like career changes or relationships. It's the balance between emotions, logic, and long-term vision that makes it work. Would this work for you? Think about its simplicity and how it adapts to different situations. The next time you're paralyzed by indecision, give it a shot. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the F-Bomb Podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe below and check out my show notes to learn more about my Facebook group, courses, and membership.